Alright, obviously the revolver is pretty much dead on, but that was shooting single action. If you ever found yourself in a Dirty Harry situation where you have to go into combat with your Model 29, you'd be shooting double action. So let me give that a try. Okay, it's pretty obvious that I shoot my revolvers mostly in single action because, as you can see, my double action technique leaves a lot to be desired. Looks like I pulled everything right. I kept 5 in the black but had 1 complete miss. Alright, let's give this another try. Okay, by concentrating a little bit more, I avoided pulling to the right and instead pulled in all the other directions. Now, in my defense, I did put 1 in the bullseye and put 2 in the 9 ring. But just like last time, I also had 1 complete miss over there on the right. So yeah, I need to start practicing my double action. But enough of shooting on boring paper. Let's have a little bit of fun. Hey guys, Mystery Wheel Gunner back here with you again. And yes, as you've probably noticed, I've changed the music to my intro. If you like what you hear in the intro and would like to have the full version of that song for yourself, check the description below for the link. That will take you to either iTunes or Amazon Digital, and you can purchase the full version of the song. This is my way of saying thank you to the Little Miss Leard Project, the band that let me use a snippet of their song Iron Rain for my intro. Okay, let's get on to today's revolver. And as you can probably tell from the highfalutin box here, yeah, this is a little bit of a special edition here. This was put out in 2006 by Smith & Wesson to commemorate 50 years of the .44 Magnum. And you can probably guess what kind of revolver is inside. Yes, that's right. It would be a Model 29, the first revolver to be chambered for the .44 Magnum. So, in essence, 50 years of the .44 Magnum is also 50 years of the Model 29. As you can see, it comes with this pretty nice old school presentation here. Back in the old days, right before I was even alive, I guess this is how they used to sell the Smith & Wesson revolvers. They actually came in a wooden box and came with a case like this, and it came with the the cleaning rod and the brush. You get this old school mop. And boy, these are old school. Because to be honest, I don't know too many people who actually use these anymore. I know they come in a lot of kits, but wow, these mops are more like little lint machines. They're kind of just there just for show. This little screwdriver is pretty neat though. Yes, this will fit every screw that's on this gun, including the adjustment screws for the rear sight. This is pretty nice. I kind of wish Smith & Wesson would include this with all their guns. Well, not all, not the semi-autos, but at least the revolvers. At least the ones with adjustable sights. This is really handy. Okay, moving on to the revolver itself. This is a commemorative edition. Unfortunately, not a reissue. So yes, this is based on the 29-10. So it is not a recreation of the, the 29-0 or whatever. So yes, it has the infamous gun lock, the built-in gun lock, the so-called, what do they call it, the Hillary hole, okay. The barrel is not pinned and the cylinder is not recessed. So if you're looking for a reissue, this is not it. It's a commemorative, but again, it is a modern day Model 29, and again, based on the 29-10. Comes with these really nice wooden grips. It's got the medallion on it. Figuring is really nice. I think it matches the polished bluing really, really well. And of course, you have the gold inlay with the badging, reminding you once again, 50 years of the 44 Magnum. Okay, let's take this revolver out of here. Yeah, I have to excuse my scarring here. That's from the poison sumac. I'm still kind of healing from it. Got that weird shiny scar. So I'm hoping that'll fade. Anywho, we're empty. As you can see, there is the infamous keyhole for the internal gun lock. And you've got this old school style thumb latch or a thumb piece. Okay, instead of that slash style thumb piece. I'm kind of ambivalent regarding the thumb piece. I like both of them. Both are actually, wow, this thing's having trouble focusing. Come on. There we go. I like both of them. I actually kind of like the slash style a little bit better, but these are also pretty comfortable. But it's pretty nice that they put the old school thumb piece on here. The trigger, hopefully you can see this. Might have to roll in some B footage. It's a wide but serrated trigger. This will be kind of polarizing. It feels nice, but I'll admit, if you plan on an extended shooting session, yeah, that can probably get annoying after a little while, especially with that recoil. That serrated trigger may not feel too good after a little while. It's got the standard Smith & Wesson click adjustable rear sight at the front. Got the familiar ramp style sight with the red insert. Now, from what I can gather, these were not performance center guns, but I gotta tell you, the trigger on these things is really good. Very smooth trigger. It feels like it's been worked on. It's not quite on the level of the performance center, but wow, it gets pretty close. Okay, a little bit of special care was given to these, as is appropriate, since it is a kind of a special edition. Oh, and as you can see, it's got the wide target hammer. I like this quite a bit. Makes it easy to grip and cock. A lot of the performance center guns have that teardrop style. They look stylish, but I like the wide target hammer a bit better. Okay, you probably know what I'm about to harp on here, since I'm having the camera focus on the grips. Yeah, look at that. Look at how thin these grips are at the top. And yes, I know, some people like these, obviously, and Smith & Wesson has to have a reason for continuing with these, but boy, those are painful. The grip is comfortable when you're just holding the gun. I can see why they went with the thin grips, Okay, not everybody has hands that can palm a basketball. I get that. I have small hands myself. But even these are a little too thin, especially when you're actually shooting the gun. Again, when you're just holding it, they're fine. But on the recoil, see that right there? Okay, I like to hold up high on this little shoulder right here. And look how little material there is right there. See that? It's not a whole lot. Okay, the more material you have here, the more spread out the recoil is going to be. You know, it's like the snowshoe effect. Okay, when you wear snowshoes, you don't fall through the snow because your weight is distributed over a wider area. Same principle for wide grips. More material to spread that recoil impact over a wider area. But anyway, enough of my rant here. These are pretty grips, but for me, kind of painful, especially when shooting, full power 44 Magnum loads. 44 Special, they feel fine, but under 44 Mag, woo, you're gonna want some better grips. Maybe get some, I don't know, Hogues or something. I will change these grips out. I'll keep these. Just to keep the value of this, the commemorative edition. And wow, it's losing focus again. What is going on here? There we go. Okay. From what I've heard, there were actually two versions of the commemorative edition. The other version, I think the first 50 of these, I think serial numbers 1 through 50, or would that be 0 through 50? I don't know. Or 0 through 49. Okay. Anyway, the first 50 of these were actually fully engraved. Now, those go for quite a bit more money. I've seen those on Gunbroker for, I think they're going for like around, I don't know, $3 grand, $4 grand, somewhere in there. The non-engraved version with just the inlaid gold emblem, these are much more common. Much more affordable. In fact, I really wasn't even looking for the commemorative edition. I just wanted to buy the 629, the 6.5 inch barreled version. Excuse me, did I just say 629? I wanted to buy the Model 29 with a 6.5 inch barrel. The Dirty Harry configuration, so to speak. Smith & Wesson still sells them through their classics lineup, but those have been difficult for me to find. I actually found this one very lightly used. I don't think the previous owner even shot this thing. It's got a very light turn line, and most of that is from me shooting it. So more than likely, I shot this thing more than the previous owner did. But anyway, he sold this to me for less than the price that I'd pay for a new Model 29 from the Smith & Wesson Classics line. So I figured, hey, you know what? I think it's a pretty good deal. I'm sure he made a pretty good profit off it. I'm sure these things didn't go for that much when he first bought them when he first bought this in 2006. So hey, he made a little bit of money for himself, and I got a nice revolver for less than the price of a new Model 29. So both of us came away happy. Anywho, enough of my history with this gun. It's a very smooth shooting gun. It does have the short lug, so yeah, there is a little bit more recoil and pop to it. I used to own a 629 Classic, different from the Model 29 from the Classics line. But the 629 Classic 6.5 inch barrel has the full underlug, and yeah, that you wouldn't think that would make that much of a difference. It's only this much more metal, but it does make a big difference. And again, with these paint-o-matic grips, I will be changing these out. That being said, still a very, very nice gun. I mean, Smith & Wesson knows how to make revolvers, and it seems, for something that's not a performance center gun, they seem to have put a little bit more extra TLC in these than they normally would in their standard guns. It comes obviously with the nice wooden case, which is pretty nice. From what I've heard back in the day, this is how most of the Smith & Wessons came. This was like way back. But for those of you who were, around back then and were buying guns, maybe you can chime in the comments section. Is this a pretty good recreation of how the Model 29s used to come? Back in the 50s and 60s, 70s. I don't know when the break point was. I know at one point in time, Smith & Wesson went to those cardboard boxes, and then currently we've got what I call the plastic lunchbox. I don't mean that in a disparaging way. It's just, I don't know, they remind me of lunchboxes. Anywho, maybe like I said, someone can chime in as to when this stopped. The wooden box coming with the gun. All right, well, that about wraps it up for this overview of this Model 29 commemorative, celebrating 50 years of the 44 Magnum.